Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Under Review. I'm your host, Phil Levanco, and normally I'm joined by the head of officiating for the Major Arena Soccer League, Ryan Sigich. Unfortunately, this week he had a conflict, so I'm lucky enough to be joined by Rich Grady, who's been an official in the indoor game for over 30 years. Rich, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Phil. Pleasure to be here, and we'll see if Ryan ducked out on the hard calls and left me to clean up the mess.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think he's ducking me because I blew up his phone this weekend. We'll start in Utica for indoor soccer chaos at its finest. End of the third quarter between the St. Louis Ambush and Utica City FC, and goalkeeper Andrew Coughlin says, sure, why not? And launches a hope and a prayer towards the Ambush goal, and a mad scramble ensues. They've got a lot going on here, so let's hit the bullet points real quick. Did the ball cross the line? Did the ball cross the line on time? Did the ball cross the line legally? And why does everyone think Mandalorian is a good TV show? Rich, I didn't start you off with an easy one here. Can you please explain the decision-making process that went into this goal line scramble?
Sure, Phil. So the first thing we have is a decision on the field that there was a foul committed by the Utica City attacker, and the referee on the floor said no goal. And at the time, the ball goes into the net, the clock counts down to 0, so we have a natural break. So the first thing we have to confirm for ourselves is what's the decision on the floor, which was no goal for a foul committed against the goalkeeper. And then it was explaining that decision to Utica City and saying, if you'd like to challenge, that's your prerogative to do so. So once they did, as you indicated, now we have a bunch of things to review. So as you can tell, when the ball comes off the glass behind Paulo, it hits him in the back of the arm. And the first question is, does the ball completely cross the line there? And we concluded we had no evidence that it did. And then the second step is take a look at the initial decision of foul committed against the goalkeeper. And was that a clear and obvious error? And as we're looking at that, the referees didn't feel that that was a clear foul. So now there's some discussion about, okay, do we have a good goal? And in the process of that discussion, you look at it and now you're looking at time, and the ball was in the net before the clock hit 0. So if there's no other issues, we might have a good goal. But one of the things you notice, if you pause it right when the contact is made, the ball comes off Gordy Gerson's hand prior to going into the goal. So the ultimate decision was no goal, handling offense by Gordy Gerson, and quarters over.
Okay, Rich, next up, second quarter here in Dallas between the Mesquite Outlaws and Dallas Sidekicks. Rich, I think this is good use of video review on the handball by Steven Gonzalez.
Yeah, Phil, absolutely. This is a proper use of video review. And it's very easy to look at this after the fact and say, well, why didn't they get it right without the video review? And a big part of this is angles. And I know that Ryan has spoken in the past about angles. And if you look at the play, the lead referee is on the other side of the body from where the handball is committed. So he doesn't have a great look. The trail referee opposite side of the floor, but looking through bodies. And that's the kind of play where you can't guess. You can't say, well, I think he did it, I want to call it. So it's great for us as officials that we have that video review option available now. And as we look at it, it was probably one of the shortest video reviews ever. You know, is the arm out away from the body? Yes. Does it stop a shot? Yes. Is it, everything that we look for in a handling decision was there. So this is a quick, efficient use of video review.
And I want to say kudos to the Dallas production crew for having proper angles to get to the right decision.
Absolutely. That's always helpful.
Two plays now from San Diego, Kansas City, Sunday night in San Diego. Second quarter, and James Togba cleans out Pee Wee Ortega, but the play continues, ending in a goal by Brandon Escoto. Rich, what are the criteria used to call advantage on a play like this?
So one of the things, Phil, that we always want to look for is, does the attacking team have the opportunity to retain possession of the ball? And do they have a promising attack? And I think in this case, both questions were answered yes. And as an official, you look at it and you process in your mind, that's a foul. You process, that's a blue card. But the thing that's really important is I don't need to blow the whistle right now. So this is a case where we're slow with the whistle, but we're faster with the card. So you'll see the official holds up the card to indicate we've got a delayed blue advantage. And it was just a great piece of officiating, because you always want to hesitate a little bit and see what's going to happen. You don't want to take that attacking opportunity away from the team.
So that was a great job by the officials in San Diego to get this call right. But this one in the fourth quarter might be a little bit trickier for the guys on the turf. Mitchell Cardenas is eventually called for a blue card for tripping and then escalated to a major yellow for dissent. But here is my question for you. I think Rion Marquez got him in the face with those hand whacks, right? And then Mitchell got mad and took him down. So my question here, Rich, is at what point do those whacks on the face get nullified because the defending player whips him down to the ground?
So Phil, it's not necessarily a question of nullified here, but it's really processing what happened. So you have two players who are battling along the boards, and they're both fighting for position, and the referees are making the decision. There's nothing serious enough to stop play yet. And it's kind of a mutual battle, and they're both doing things. And what you hope as an official is that both players accept it at the same level and nobody wants to retaliate or escalate. Unfortunately, in this situation, it escalated. So by the time play is stopped and the blue card and ultimately the 2+5 major penalty is given, the referee's judgment was that the defender is not doing anything other than gratuitously kicking the opponent with no real attempt to play the ball. And that's why you see Shane Butler come across. Shane has the good wide angle perspective on what's happening because he's on the other side of the floor. And Shane was the one who suggested, hey, I think we need to go 2+5 here because there was not really a play on the ball.
One more play for you, Rich. We've got a bonus play from past Tuesday night Empire Strikers and Baltimore Blast. This was called a blue card on Jamie Thomas for boarding Justin Stinson that led to Stinson's game-winning goal on Tuesday night. Now, in my opinion, Darius Kasparidis would be proud of this hip check into the boards. Rich, do you agree with me that this is a straightforward blue card?
Well, Phil, as a Ranger fan, I'm surprised you didn't throw Dennis Potvin in there as the example of evil doing, but as an Islander fan, I'll take that as a win. Yeah, this is a pretty straightforward play here. And you can see, if you watch through on the broadcast afterwards, Jamie Thomas is indicating, hey, I made contact with my shoulder. It's shoulder to shoulder. And he absolutely made contact with the shoulder. But what makes this a foul and a blue card and a dangerous play is the shoulder is actually squarely in the back. And this is what makes it particularly dangerous. So when Stinson gets hit, it's directly in the spinal region, and he has no way to protect himself and doesn't really see that it's coming.
And that's it for this week's edition of Under Review. Rich, thank you so much for being here. I want to say Ryan was Wally Pipp, but that's like a 100-year-old reference. So I'm going to say that you're the Tom Brady to Ryan's Drew Bledsoe?
Yeah, I don't know if Ryan's going to appreciate that reference, but yeah, I had fun, Phil. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me.
And I think his spleen's still okay, so it'll be all right.
Hopefully.